Hello everyone, welcome to the Design Hack Talk number 4. And hi everyone, hope you all are doing really well. So today we have a very special guest, Tejas Nagdev. He is a senior designer at ValueLabs. And welcome Tejas, the stage is all yours.
Hi, Abhay. Thanks for the introduction. Uh, I'm going to share my screen. Just let me know if you can see my slides.
Sure.
Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, it is.
So before diving into the world of illustration, I'll quickly introduce myself. So I'm Tejas Nagdev, and I'm pursuing NMD, which is New Media Design from National Institute of Design, and I'm an interaction designer at ValueLabs. So basically, my job is to interact with stakeholders, clients, users, and get valuable insights, and then convert those insights into user-friendly products. And as hobby, I pursue I draw a lot. I'm into illustration. I'm into sketch notes. And for those who don't know what sketch note is, it's basically when someone is speaking like a webinar, like this webinar. So I keep like noting points down in a very visual way. Um, I make small illustrations out of the snippets that they are talking about. Or so this is what sketchnoting is. So I really enjoy that. Um, I started drawing and illustration when I was in engineering, like second year of engineering, and back then I was known as a backbench doodler. So that was about me. Let's start. So before beginning the session, I would like to say that you will enjoy this session more if you are a beginner and intermediate illustrator. Like by beginners, I mean people who have absolutely no idea about illustration and they want to explore it as either as a hobby or as career. And while the intermediate ones are the people who are little skilled, they know they have prior knowledge about illustrations and they want to improve this art form and maybe they want to know their own visual style or they want to explore what are the career options in the future. So let's begin. So the most basic question one can ask when expect for this type of presentation is what is an illustration and why should we even do it? So an illustration is a visual representation of text, concept, idea. It can be illustration of a process or a story. It can be a drawing, painting, or a work of art, which can be printed or digital. And it has a certain value to it. It has a commercial value to it, an educational value to it. So if you see on the right hand side, there's certain things that are written there, right? It's ABCDE ideas and diagram to illustrate a process. So basically these are illustration because one, I'm visually representing them representing the text. Then they are printed form, they are digital form of art, and they're adding actually a value to this presentation, right? And further, they can be posters, they can be scientific illustration, if you can see here. They can be storybook illustrations, and basically whatever you see in, uh, let's say, in newspaper, books, children books, they all sort of are illustrations. So the next most logical question that one would ask is why to do why to illustrate when we have photographs and we have books? So why to illustrate? The answer is that firstly we all know that illustrations are they make things beautiful, like they are pleasing to the eye, they're user friendly, they invoke certain kind of emotion or expression. uh, but it all started as a survival tool. It was a form of communication and documentation tool. So, uh, this is what I read in a book called Sketching as Design Thinking. So the early humans were very curious about shadows, shadows of human, shadows of animal, and so what they did, they started tracing the shadows of all the animals that they could find. Like they would trace the silhouette of all these animals, and hence they were able to categorize these animals into two categories. Like one is safe shadows, the one shadows that we can eat. Other are dangerous shadows, like things that would are like uh, uh, they they should you should be afraid from those shadows. And eventually, by documenting these shadows on cave walls, they were able to teach younger generation about these animals, like what are foods, what are dangerous shadows. And hence it became initially it became as a survival tool. Secondly, why illustrations are important is because of one thing is they help in information retention. uh, if you see, there are two theories. There's a lot of research, first of all, on drawing, memory, illustration, recall, retention. So there are two effects, I would say, in play here. One is called dual coding theory, which was coined by Alan Pavio. He stated that there are two kinds of codes. Okay, one is called verbal code, the other one is called visual code. So basically, whenever you recall a thing, you recall the information by either of these two codes. It can be verbal or visual. So if you take the word dog, let's take an example of a dog. Let's say if you take a word dog, so for that word a verbal code is associated, and when you take an image, two codes are associated, verbal plus visual. And whenever you recall, you have there are the chances of recalling by verbal or visual is more. So basically, you recall more by images. Second is called picture superiority effect. So it's like uh, people are most likely to remember images than words. So it's basically boils down to human evolution. They were trained, like humans were trained to see visual danger. So that is why this effect is very important. And this is the fact that all the businesses around the world are taking advantage to. They know that illustrations can grab your attention and it has a long lasting impact on your memory. Below are some of the researchers. If you are interested in knowing more about the concept of memory and illustration, you can all check out these researchers and read their research papers. Yeah. So after knowing why we illustrate and what are illustrations, let's jump into how to get started in illustration. This is for beginners who don't know much about them. After talking to many illustrator friends, I came down to like few points which are very important for a beginner to start. First of all, learn the basics. You need to improve your drawing skills. And how can you improve your drawing skills is by practicing every day. Practicing every day basically will improve your line quality. It will give you that confidence you need. When you look at the blank paper, you will sometimes people fear, right? And practicing every day will reduce that fear and it will impart some confidence. And I would say start with simpler objects. Basically, the idea here is to get familiar with the type of tools that you're going to use, or basically to start with things that inspires you, or start with things that you will not give up, like illustration or drawing after some time. Another way of doing drawing is learning drawing is by observation. You should look around your environment and take inspiration. For example, let's say I have a pen. So what? So I, I can draw a pen, or you can also take draw by reference. You can take photograph from the internet and draw from references. And another important thing is that you should draw from imagination. These are the three important, I think, methods which will help you improve your drawing skills. And I would suggest that one should understand the basic ideas of illustration. Like these are compositions, proportions, perspective, color theory. Uh, for the beginner, I would suggest that these are not that important. But for an intermediate, I think if you focus on these ideas, your illustrations will definitely improve. And even the beginner can pay attention to these ideas from the start, and they can become a really good illustrator. So on the right hand side, there are few resources for the people to get started. There are certain YouTube channels that I follow, and when I used to learn, they were it's Draw with Jasa, Gox, Rob, everyone knows Mad, Rob, and then Kish Art. Online courses, I would suggest that you can go to Skillshare or Domestika. And there are two books that I would recommend. Is first is How to Draw Everything, and the other one is How to Be an Explorer of the World. The second book is quite interesting because it's not telling you how to draw, but it will teach you how to be an explorer, like how to experiment with different type of mediums or different. Basically, it's a book which contains a number of exercises, and every day if you do an exercises, you will feel that okay, I'm exploring more and I am gaining more knowledge. And we all know that social media is a hub of inspiration, and people, there are numerous artists that you can follow, even Behance in that case. uh, so other method of improving design is like there are some certain exercises that I would say beginners can try it out, and they are very simple and very easy to do. Uh, Feel free to take screenshot of this slide, and uh, yeah, these are the exercises you can do anywhere on a piece of paper with a pencil. You don't need fancy gadgets to do it. Uh, yeah, and these exercises will improve your line quality. Um, you will have like you can see the results like if you practice it daily. I still do it regularly. Second, then I want to tell that there are certain mediums that you can explore. There are numerous mediums uh, that as a uh, starting illustrator you can explore. First is pen, watercolors, then there is vectors. There are other mediums as such as acrylic. There is wood cutting. There is numerous others that you can go and explore. It's better at this stage to have that exploratory mind, because then you can find what is working for you and what is not working for you. Tools to get started with are first of all, I would really recommend people should try pen, paper, and pencil. They should go for more traditional approach than go for maybe digital approach. The reason why I'm telling you this is, first of all, when you start using paper, first of all, it's very habitual. Matlab, you are accustomed to pen and paper. Like since childhood, you are learning on this medium, right? So initially, you need that comfort. You need that understanding of materials. You need that understanding of the medium, which I think pen and paper is the best one. Pen, paper, pencil, whatever. And also when they are very very affordable, like you can buy it, you can start right now also. And whenever you draw on, let's say from a pen on a paper, you are actually committing to those lines, which on a longer run you will have develop a confidence of making lines on the paper. So I think that's important. Of course, on digital ones you have undo button, but I feel that when you have that undo button, the confidence of those lines is somehow affected. So I strongly recommend that beginners should start from this medium and start with pen and pencil. And of course, when you are very comfortable with, let's say, pen and paper, you have that confidence. You can move to digital illustrations. You can buy. There are digitizers. They Wacom, Huon. You can buy iPad, and there are certain softwares on laptop as well. One thing that I get a lot is one thing to understand is if you're buying an iPad or digital, your illustrations will not improve magically. Because uh, these are just tools, and illustration is more than just tools. It's basically idea, how you represent, how you grab people attention, how you tell a story. So these are the software aspects of illustration, which I think one can learn. Uh, and not necessary it can be only learned from digital tools. A softwares that you can learn are Illustrator, Photoshop. I think these are paid softwares, and initial time, some period is free, so you can test if it's working for you or not. Then there is Procreate for iPad, and it's one-time investments, pretty affordable. And then there is Fresco. There is Sketchbook Pro, which I started out, and it's free now, and it offers a lot of tools, which I think intermediate illustrators can enjoy. Secondly, lastly, I would say that stay motivated and find inspiration. Follow other illustrators on social media. Follow your friends who are illustrators. Then keep on doing personal projects. Like there are number of series that you can do. First is 100 days of illustration. Then you can start your own illustration series. uh, you can also collaborate with other illustrators, come up with new ideas of collaborating. You can also there are series like Inktober, 30 days of 36 days of type. uh, just keep on doing these personal projects, and you will eventually improve. And share your work and get feedback. I think this is one of the most important tip or thing one should do. Just upload these your work on social media. Reach out to people who are illustrator, send them their work, get the feedback, because every illustrator works in their own way, and you will get more information, more techniques how to improve. Then create a visual library. By visual library, I means like you should keep on collecting images, texture, objects that really uh, inspire you, or like really excites you, or you want to make uh, your art in that form. So eventually what will happen, you will start collecting these images, and your visual library will keep on increasing, and you will have a wider sense of uh, visual understanding if you keep on doing this exercise of collecting these things. And lastly, be an explorer, like explore new tools. Don't, like, if you're doing let's say digital art, you can also do acrylic art, or you can also see if watercolor is working for you or not. You can buy different tools, pens, and keep on experimenting. This is and from here your style will emerge, I would say. Finding your style. I think this is one of the most important question that people ask. That how to find your own style. Uh, they're confused because they're not able to arrive, or they don't have a larger understanding of what style is. So basically, to tackle this problem, there's one concept which is very important to learn, and it's called iconic abstraction. Don't go like it's a very simple concept. So basically, whenever you want to uh, represent a concept, you can either do it by picture or language. Like there is a spectrum, there's a long line on which on the left hand side there are pictures, and on the left hand side there is language. Okay, so to represent any concept, you can vary the appearance from a realistic picture to maybe in between there is a doodle, and to maybe a word. For example, let's take face as an example. So Abhay, let's take your example. I can draw you in a realistic way. I can draw you in a doodle way, or I can even write the name Abhay. The concept of Abhay is not changing, right? And this is what iconic abstraction is. Like I'm abstracting a realistic image down to when I move along this axis, I'm making a doodle, and when I move more along this axis, when I'm on the rightmost side, I'm representing the concept by verbs. Words. And this is where the things start getting interesting. So when I'm making a realistic image, okay, I am only representing one person. I'm only representing Abhay, for example. And when I make it little more abstract, I am representing, let's say, 100 people. And eventually, if I go down this line, I'll be making a circle with two dots, one line, and I would be representing everyone, right? So these are the styles that people can follow. And the power of this is that you go from realistic to a cartoon like thing. You go from skills to ideas. Like, for example, if you see this image of two dots, one circle, and line, this represent an idea of a face, right? You're going from something which is very complex to something very simple, something which is very realistic to something very iconic, right? And the thing about this is that there are infinite points on this line, right? And that is why there are infinite styles on this line. If you know, do you know that why cartoons are very fascinating to people? Like, why do people really like cartoons? Because they lie on this side of the diagram, and so that people can relate to them. People, if you see cosplayers or people who dress up like their favorite character, they can relate to those cartoons because they look like them, and I would rather say they look like them. So this is where the power of this iconic abstraction come into picture, and this is what every illustrator is trying to do. Like, they are trying to identify on which line, on which part of the line they belong. So if you see, I've taken examples of many illustrators from internet. So there is Neha Doodle, Alicia, Ali, Metro Doodle, and let's assume I am also, right. So how would you map these styles on this line of iconic abstraction? So for, if you see, Metro Doodle is trying to create something very realistic, right? And if you see, the doodles or illustrations are interacting with the uh, real life people. If you see Alicia, she has this style which is not that realistic, which I think comes in middle. My style is comes after that. Neha Doodle style is very simplistic. She makes something more like this. And if you see Ali, she makes something like this, very stick figurey and just conveying the idea. So if you go back, so every artist or every illustrator is trying to uh, locate themselves in this line. Like, where do they belong? What they want to experiment, whether they want to show their skills, whether they want to appeal the audience, whether they want to make complex drawings, or whether they want to make very simplistic drawings which people can even replicate. And this is what an illustration style is. uh, I have made my diagram of style. So I would recommend that one should follow T style. They can start from very simplistic line drawings, and then they can add more complexity to their illustrations, and eventually they can make realistic drawing. Or you can start from anywhere in the line and explore both sides. Uh, and what I mean by T-shape approach is uh, T-shape approach is that you can go down at any point. For example, I have this style and I really like the style, so I started exploring the style more. And the stem of your T can vary. Like, it can go here, it can be this, it can be this, or it depends on you, and you should keep exploring. Uh, there's this, yeah. So I explained my type of illustration, and I want just to show that what my process is like. Uh, yeah. So as I told you before that uh, there are certain principles that you can follow. So what I am trying to do here is uh, I'm trying to focus on composition of the artwork. The artwork is called there's this song by Yash Mukhate which I really like, and so I'm trying to illustrate that. So initially, I started by just writing the sentence, and then I'm exploring how to represent that visually. So I'm making these boxes. It's called block approach, in which you make certain blocks and then you try to figure out where will certain elements will look good. So here I'm trying to do that. Yeah, and now what I'm doing is I'm improving the elements, like which the blocks that I made. I'm trying to improve those elements and make more sense out of the illustration. So after finalizing the basic drawing, rough drawing, I'm still improving. I want to explore more. I want to see uh, more. So that is how I'm doing it. I'm experimenting with different type of uh, drawing, like uh, different styles of lettering. And finally, I was able to like finalize that. Okay, this is what my rough will look like. And I did a color test. Like I wanted the feeling of uh, vibrancy. I wanted that energy in this illustration. That is why I went for such colors. And now what I'm doing is I'm finalizing the drawing. I'm making uh, lines that are like neat and yeah. So finally, and here I am working on individual elements. I'm adding light, color, uh, texture to it. Yeah, and lastly, I am adding certain texture or certain details to it. So basically, this one approach called macro, meso and micro. So macro is when you decide, okay, what are the composition, what is the composition, where every element will come. Then there is meso, in which you decide what are the colors that you want to like you want to make, and what are the how certain things will look like, and like lastly micro, in which you add details. So that is how what the process looks like. Yeah, and lastly, when you know that what type of style that you want to go for, you can actually start exploring career options. So you can be a fashion illustrator or UX illustrator, animator, advertisement. You can go for packaging, branding, and there are numerous other careers that you can go for depending on your style and what you really want to become. And it can also work other way around. You can identify what career path that you want to take. Suppose, let's say, I want to be want to be a caricature artist. So I will start exploring more on this style of this side of the spectrum. I would be converting realistic images into in caricature form. You can be a concept artist if you are on this side, or maybe if you are in the middle, you can also explore that you want to become a storyboard artist or comic artist. And on the right hand side, you can be a doodler, or you can be uh, you can be a doodler. So depending on what style that you want to pursue and what career option that you want to take, you can explore this scale of iconic abstraction and know your style. So that was it. Uh, some of the fundamentals of illustration, and I would love to answer your questions, like whatever questions you have. Hmm. Okay, so it's a digital question. Yes, yes, absolutely. So if you go on the this part, so what I am doing is I am adding colors on different layers. Uh, Reason why I'm doing that is it allows me to give texture on every color, and it's very easy to for me to change colors. It's very easy for me to erase that part of the color, and yeah, it makes your artwork very fluid. Like you can change whatever you want to at any point of time. Hope this answers your question. Software, I would suggest go for Sketchbook Pro because it's a free software, and like it's a very powerful software. There are all the tools. There are all the medium. You can have acrylic, you can have watercolor medium. Uh, yeah, you can do that, and you can also explore uh, Photoshop and Illustrator if you buy the paid version. And yeah, I think these two softwares are good enough to like, get started. There are a lot of fine art courses that you can go for. They basically teach you the fundamentals of uh, that's what I explained earlier. That fundamentals of improving your drawing skills and understanding basic ideas of an illustration. And you will be in art school, you will be experimenting a lot with medium, and therefore you will be able to find what works for you and what is something that you can fall in love with. There are a lot of yeah yeah there are a lot of art colleges. For example, JJ is one. uh, yeah, and there are different art colleges that they can go for illustration masters. And I think you can do it with graphic design. Uh, you can learn graphic design as well as illustration in the same course. Like there are numerous schools that offer such uh, disciplines and courses. Which one? Oh, this is for Windows, Mac, even for iPad. Uh, this is for everyone, like every OS, iOS. OS. Yeah. Oh, so on uh, digital platforms, there's something on Digitizer. Okay, these are tablets. Wait, I might be having one. Okay, it's in the other room. So basically, it's something like this, and you have a pen with it. So it comes in two variation. First is like it will not have any screen, and it's connected to your laptop or computer. And when you draw, the cursor is replicated. Other one is that it comes with a screen. They are called the display digitizers, in which whatever is on the laptop will be displayed on your screen, and then you can draw. And it basically it's easier, but the function of both the digitizers are same. And then you can also go for iPad or Surface Pro for these illustration.
Okay. I think these were the questions.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
1 second. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tejas, for being here and
Oh,
engaging our audience and giving thoughts on what you had on illustration and giving more guidance to the people. Any last notes or any last tips that you want to give to the audience?
so
Generally.
basically, whatever I've told you in this small talk is like very big keywords. It's not that I've gone into details. Like every topic can be a different presentation altogether. So it's just a way of starting it, starting your illustration journey. And if you have any, like, if you want any guidance, you can ping me, or you can find other illustrators also. So basically, guidance and exploring is very important, I would say. The key takeaways, and everything is, I think, is related to your own style, the identity that you want to put out there. So the framework which I told is that is iconic abstraction. If you have that framework in your mind, in your hand, you can actually systematically approach your illustration style. Right? You can go from right side and left side, and you can really know what is working for you or not. So these are the last few things I would say that you can explore. How would you do? Okay.
Thanks. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
thank
audience,
you.
and thank you so much, Tejas, for coming in and guiding everyone. So whosoever wants to connect to Tejas, his socials will be linked down below, and you can connect with him. And yeah, see you in the next one.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me. Bye bye.
Bye bye.